There are very few people whose lives are unaffected by cancer. That's why we can't leave it to chance that the best new ideas in cancer research make it to the top. Ohio Cancer Research opens doors that save lives. We fund individual researchers to get their projects off the ground. We seek out the best research projects from around the state that can turn our seed money into an exponentially greater amount of funding from other sources by getting them up to that first rung on the funding ladder.
I think the seed money program at Ohio Cancer Research is extremely important in making sure that really novel, innovative, potentially breakthrough ideas receive support early in their journey.
That first grant, when you don't have any money, that first startup grant is a huge amount of money. It's what lets you take the ideas you've spent years dreaming of and actually first show they can work. And until you can do that, you can't get funded through the NIH mechanism.
So federal funding is increasingly either static or being reduced for cancer research. So the idea is, how do you support that next breakthrough? And a lot of times this next breakthrough is coming out of the labs of junior faculty members who just started their team.
So you're supporting the birth of the new ideas that create the hope and the promise of being able to fight diseases like cancer. That's why it's so crucial. Without it, we're just doing the same stuff that we already know doesn't work.
And what Ohio Cancer Research does is it gives them the necessary resources at the absolute vital time in the start of a project to make sure that that initial idea is vetted and then in a position where it can compete at the national level for federal funding.
So when you have the imprimatur of an outside group like OCR, that shines a bright spotlight that an idea has got promise and merit, and it helps all the way around in generating additional support to get that idea off the ground.
And I will say at Ohio Cancer Research, our peer review process is extremely rigorous. The same people who serve on NIH study sections are on our peer review panel. We get external peer reviewers. I've been involved with a lot of organizations, and I would say Ohio Cancer Research's peer review process is probably one of the most rigorous I've seen.
We review our grants as though we were an NIH review panel. We use the same criteria that they do, and we also look at them as, will this potentially get funding at the NIH? We use a panel from around the state of Ohio of scientists, and we get additional expertise from around the world to provide critiques on our applications. And that process has led to a 97% success rate, where 97% of those grants that we fund go on to get bigger and additional funding from the NIH or other external sources.
And that success rate is reflected in our unparalleled return on investment. Since we started, OCR has provided $8.7 million in seed money. That has been leveraged to generate over $1 billion in additional funding.
It's an unbelievable story, an unbelievable ROI. Another thing that comes up for me is when you think about the vast ecosystem of cancer research and all the fundraising that takes place across this country to help support all the organizations that are either doing research or fighting cancer. Nobody does what Ohio Cancer Research does. Nobody.
For me, I was personally affected by cancer. I am a 20-year breast cancer survivor, and I'm proud to be standing here because I represent hope to others. And I was impacted by the drug that OCR, or the class of drugs that OCR invested in with Dr. Bob Brueggemeyer. I want to make sure I get his name correct because we're celebrating him too. And without it, I probably wouldn't be here today. So my personal story is just one that I want to share because every penny matters, but really it's about the collective group. It's the collective pennies, it's the collective research. And we couldn't do it without everybody here tonight supporting, along with Huntington, the cause that makes a difference.
That's why we are so proud to be their sponsor. And again, I think on behalf of everyone at Encova Insurance, we just want to say to OCR, keep up the good work and thanks for everything you do. And we look forward to continuing the partnership.